videos all around. The Commanders had Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt, old Bill, as Bill Merritt, the science guy, doing like science fair experiments. There were some good little moments in there. I didn't think it stacked up great with a lot of the other teams around the league, but it was fine. They put some good work in and clearly took some time doing it. It wasn't terrible or anything. But I don't know if you saw theirs. Did you get through that?
I did. I watched it. I wasn't sure what I was watching. The sound wasn't all the way up the whole time, and I'm kind of, I don't know.
The sound wasn't up?
Yeah, like I couldn't hear some of the things, and I kind of didn't know what was going on. I got distracted
because you didn't
once.
have the sound up, or because the volume wasn't
sound
high
was
enough?
fine. Maybe I touched something on the screen, and I was really bored. I wasn't sure what I was watching, and didn't really catch my attention. Was ready for it to be over.
He's a fun
He's
guy.
a fun guy.
Danny Fun Guy Rouillet, as they call him. Let's get into the schedule, though. The Commanders are favored to win 5 games. They will be favorites 5 times this football season. What did you love most? What did you hate most, Danny, about the schedule?
The gauntlet to start the year. It is 100% reasonable. They could get off to a rotten start, a really, really bad start that casts a pall over the entire year. Even if you're better than you were last year, which I expect them to be. The idea that the fairy tale of 2024 is replicable, I think, is just that. I think it's a fairy tale. You could get off to a awful start with a bunch of division favorites, repeat Super Bowl champion, and some of the best teams with the best odds to be really, really effective this year and go deep into the postseason in their own right. You'd be behind the 8 ball with a bunch of NFC games against really good opponents. I hate the way it's distributed. I hate it.
So the thing I hate most about their schedule would be that in short order after the trip to London, they're back out west to take on San Francisco. There is a home game sandwiched between the two, but it's not that big of a difference when you're talking about like 14 days between games. And so really it's like 11 or so days between travel of going to London and then going out to California to take on the 49ers. That's on my hate list. I also, if I'm going to add one more thing, would say, and again, going through what we love and what we hate, I think it was actually about as good a schedule in terms of rest and some of the things that were laid out for Washington. It's just a tough schedule, but we knew that already with the opponents. The thing I hate the most probably, Danny, when they're playing a Week 8 home game, it will only be the 3rd time they've been at home all season. So in other words, They have 2 home games through Week 7, which is the lowest total I think that they've had since the 90s. It's really hard to get through 7 weeks of a football schedule and only have played 2 times at home. Most teams have played 4 times at home. Rarely, but sometimes you'll get 5 times in that stretch at home. In their case, they'll have played twice because they lose that home date out in London. And that's a good thing for what lies ahead. There's a lot of home slate after that. But to only play a couple times, you're trying to get into the rhythm of the season. You're trying to sleep in your own bed and stay at the facility and put in the hours and the work deep into the week. It's a lot of travel early on for the Commanders, which I hate. Not my favorite thing. The thing I love about the schedule, you know how big I am on net rest differential and on just how many days before the game are you resting versus your opponent? Washington finished this year 4th in the NFL in net rest days. The Bears are the luckiest team in this regard, plus 15 rest days. The Bills are number 2 at plus 14. And the Cowboys are actually plus 11.5. They have a built-in advantage a lot of times because of the Thanksgiving Day game and whatnot. But they're 3rd. For the Commanders, who play twice on Saturday and back-to-back weeks, only have the one Thursday night game, they have 10 more rest days than their opponents. The Chargers, as an example, this year, I don't even know how this is possible, minus 24.
That's crazy.
In rest days. The next worst team is the Philadelphia Eagles, who are minus 15. The Chargers might be setting a record in terms of how little rest they're getting compared to their opponents. But I think this is one of the most underrated things. Everyone wants to talk about strength of schedule. We don't know who's going to be good and who isn't. And we're looking at last year's standings and the winning percentage of a team that's been completely reworked, a roster that's completely redone. How many days, on average, do you get the advantage of over your opponent?
Of recovery, yeah.
Did they play Monday and you played Sunday? Did they play Thursday and you haven't played since Sunday? The Commanders, 4th best in the NFL. That is a sneaky great thing about this schedule.
I didn't have that specific amount of data, but that's where I was going to go, and that's the thing that I love, is there aren't too many crazy things, right? Where you play Sunday night into a Thursday, and then the following week it's a Monday Night Football into the early game on Saturday on the road. There's none of those really horrendous. You already mentioned the one travel hot mess. That's just inevitable. That's everyone's got to wear one, right? Everyone's got to have one bad situation. That's international travel, Colts, home, then across the country to San Francisco. To me, I care just as much about the opponent in that regard. Like if you're going out west to play Arizona right then, let's do that then. But it's not. It's Arizona. It's in San Fran, really in Santa Clara, a quality opponent there. But I think you touched on it. I didn't have the rest day data, but that stands to reason because I'm going, this doesn't look too arduous in terms of those heavy expectations.
Here's another thing I really like about their schedule. So we've talked a lot in the past about where you want the bye week positioned. Their bye week is week 7. That's a little earlier than what would be idealistic or perfect. But they also have a week 10 semi-bye. This is my old Mike Shanahan, let me play on Thursday, Thanksgiving time frame, so that I get the week and a half after that going into the stretch run. When Shanny was in Denver, as an example, he used to request this, right? With Washington, I remember 10 through 13, those 4 seasons, when I covered him, he said he would go to the league and say, hey, if you need someone to play a Thursday game, we'll take it. Because what he really liked was if you can get a bye in that week 6 through 9 range, and then a Thursday game in the stretch run around Thanksgiving, it lets you load up with what he thought was like a mini bye to rest everybody up over a weekend and get back after it for the stretch run. They kind of have that here. A week 7 bye, and then in week 10, they play Thursday night football against the Giants, and they have a break from Thursday night, November 12th against the Giants, all the way to Monday Night Football, November 23rd. So after that Thursday night game, it's not even the normal all the way to the following Sunday. It's all the way to Monday Night Football the following week for Washington in that 11-day break, which just, that does not happen. I mean, you're not going to find that on their schedule. There's a couple oddities like that. They have not played 2 Saturday games since 1990, and they haven't had that kind of a stretch. The first time that they have had, the 11 days off in well over a decade. So I thought that was a big win for them as well.
So something I hate is the number of primetime games. It's the yard isn't clean. The house isn't clean. I don't want anybody over there. I'll never like it. If we come off back-to-back 13-win-plus seasons and are in conference championship games and compete for Super Bowls, then I'll invite those primetime things. This always feels like the addition isn't done and the house is a mess whenever we get these big primetime showcases. I know we have Jaden Daniels, but I'm not ready for it. You know my preference. Sunday at 1, that's when I want their games.
Is primetime different for you than standalone?
Yes.
Or is that all the same?
I do separate it. I probably shouldn't because there's the 9:30 in the morning game, so it makes it 5.
I feel like if your argument is I don't want everybody in the country watching, I don't know how different the TV numbers are between that and the 9:30 a.m. London game or something.
Yeah.
And that one's a little quirky because of the start time.
I was going to say, more people watch primetime than morning, but
sure,
people watch it.
Okay, but Saturday games. Again, they play 2 Saturday games at the end of the year. Now, we don't yet know if they'll be in primetime or at 4 o'clock. But, what's different about primetime and the 4:25 p.m. national TV opener against the Eagles? That'll be your biggest rating game anyway. I bet you get more people that watch that game of the week on Fox with, Burkhardt and now it's Tom Brady sometimes, than, watch primetime. Those are like 30, 40 million people sometimes.
Those are big numbers. It's still part of an ensemble of games, but yes, the regional, it'll win. But the primetime is all the pregame, hours of recap, the lead up to it, Sports Center's live from there. Everybody's talking about that game, your team, the whole time. And then when you lay a turd, when you do the fart noise and stink and lose terribly and embarrassingly, it's doubly anguishing.
You know how many standalone games they ended up with before they move anything around?
What was it, 6?
7.
7, golly.
7 times when they're playing and nobody else is playing.
Ugh.
And that's not counting the at least 2 Eagles-Cowboys,
potential
maybe
flexes,
others,
yeah.
like 425 games where you're going to get 30 million people because you're all over the country in the national TV game of the week. But 7 times, Jaden Daniels in Washington are on the field and Dan Quinn's calling the shots. Were we sending out the punt team or not? When you're the only game on at that moment. That's your nightmare.
It's my nightmare. It's my least favorite thing. Again, if they happen to be awesome, which I don't expect them to be, but let's say they are, then bring them on. I'll play whenever. But I generally want to stay hidden. I want to be on the same time as the Browns. You know what I mean? So you barely catch us on Red Zone. That people don't know.
Bothers me way less than a lot of other things. Like, anecdotally, I get where you're coming from because it's just the nerves and an anxiety and a kind of a woe is us. We're not good on primetime. But if you're good, you're going to be good whenever you play. If you're bad, you're going to be bad then or at 1 o'clock. It's not like oh my gosh, we're playing in front of the whole country, and now I'm nervous, like I'm performing in a play in front of my school or something. It doesn't work that way for me. What I think about is things that are rare, things the league tries to avoid. There's a reason the league tries to avoid things. So in this case, the Commanders, 2 true home games in the first 7 weeks of the season. That has not happened since 1999. You're going back 27 years and like 28 football seasons. There's a reason for that. Because it is so not ideal. Because it is so unfair, essentially. I hate that. Now, the London game is the reason. I don't know how you get over that. But 99, the last time they only played 2 home games in the first 7.
It's just weird because of the math. But yeah, I mean, so the way I always think of it is, it's like you're eating your vegetables before you have to before you want to eat the delicious thing. You're going to have to pay the piper. So if there was a sequence where there was like a bunch of 3 straight home game situations because you're on the road a bunch early, I could live with that. Like you think of the Capitals schedule at certain times where, now this year wasn't the case. They were at home a bunch early, but if they were away early, you go, man, right now this stinks. But when your old legs are tired in March and April, and there's a lot less miles to go, that West Coast trip that they always, they spend a month out there, they don't have to do that. Maybe it's to their advantage. It doesn't feel like there's enough payback from that, though, where you have so few games at home to start the season. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Some of the things we really like that we don't like about the schedule to set the table. Let's open up the phones for you guys next, though. 800-636-1067. We did talk quite a bit yesterday about what we perceived to have been the schedule set. We ended up being right, and we had the schedule nailed down. But this is our first chance to chat with people since it's become official, and we got all the start times that were TBD as well. What do you love most, and what do you hate? What gives you hope, and what makes you most nervous? 800-636-1067.